In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the application settings or the setup module of the GradeLock application. I am signed in as a web manager, so I have access to this particular module. This is the first page you will see when you start a new school year. Nothing can be done in the GradeLock application until these application settings are completed. So let's go ahead and continue. You'll notice there are 12 items on the menu. You'll go through each item one at a time, and you'll either enter the information or just review it, update it. Just make sure everything looks proper to you, and then you can move on to the next item. So let's take a quick look. Your school information, just generic information. Make sure your phone number is correct. If you have a website, you can supply that. Back to the menu. Let's look at your calendar. So we are looking for some basic calendar information. What is the first day for students? When is the end of the grading period? So this way your system or the GradeLock system knows where you're at as you move through the school year. Let's look at school day. So we want to know what time does school start for students, when does school end for students, and this is utilized in the attendance module. Okay, let's look at grade levels, item number 4. So which students will be participating in the GradeLock application? Our system supports preschool all the way up to grade 12, and you can declare which students will be using the system. For example, if your school has kindergarten, you may or may not have them in the GradeLock system. Some schools use it for attendance only. It's up to you which grade levels will be participating in the GradeLock system. Okay, that was grade levels. Let's look at subjects. This is kind of an important area. This is a list of subjects that you will provide for the school, for your teachers, when they are creating their classes. So if a teacher creates, or if a teacher has a subject that they need to teach, it has to appear on this list. So this is a master list coming from the administration for teachers to use. Pretty straightforward. We provide a generic list. You can remove subjects if needed, or you can click on Add Subject, and you can supply whatever subject you need. Notice you can change the order. This is relevant when it comes to report cards. You might need the subjects to appear in a certain order on report cards. Notice you can provide a section for each subject if it applies. So, for example, mathematics algebra, you might have mathematics calculus, whatever you need there. You can decide whether or not a subject is included when calculating honor roll, and I will show you honor roll in a few minutes. All right, so this is your master subject list. You want to make sure this is in place. You might need to return to this page later in the school year if your school decides it's going to be offering a new subject. All right, let's go back. So we want to talk about homerooms now. These are the rooms that your students are assigned to. In a traditional school environment, your students arrive in the morning and they go to a homeroom. So you can create a list of homerooms. Now, I recommend that you create the room as an actual room, like room 202 or 203 or something. And do not rely on teacher names for your rooms, because teachers come and go through the years. We have an option where you can put in a teacher's name, but the basic room name, keep it an actual physical room. You can also declare what grade level the room is for, and if a room is used by more than one grade level, you can even declare that. So a list of homerooms for your school. Later on, you'll be adding students to these homerooms. You'll be assigning to them in a traditional way. All right. Let's go back to the menu. Those are your homerooms. Now let's talk about grading scales. Very important. This is probably the most important item in the setup area. We want to make sure we get this correct. So you'll click on Add a New Scale. It generates a generic scale for you, and we supply values for your grading scale. You'll want to review these to make sure they are precise. They are exactly as you need them to be. So you might need to talk to your administration or review the school policy book. Just make sure this grading scale is exactly as you need it to be. You can click on Edit Scale and change these values as you need. Okay, notice there are two parts of the grading scale. We have traditional letters, and then down below we have this OS and U. So your teachers will have an option of which part of the grading scale do they want to use, traditional letters or OS and U. Now you can add as many grading scales as you need. So you might have students who have, say, on their own grading scale, they might be on an IEP, and they have special needs or something. So, you can create as many scales as you need. Your teachers can apply a grading scale to a class, and they can even apply it to individual students within a class. All right, grading scales, very important. And again, you would not want to return to this page to make changes once the school year has begun. So make sure that's correct, because your teachers will be creating assignments and term grades will already be calculating. So you want to make sure that scale is accurate. All right, I mentioned we have an honor roll system. This is a very generic system. We just have 3 levels. If a student, say, has a composite percentage of, say, 95%, they will reach the honor roll level. You can change these names as you would like and the percentages, and you can use up to 3 levels. You do not have to use any of this. You don't have to use all 3 levels, however you would like to establish it. But these percentages are a composite score for your students' classes, so it's an average of the averages. Keep in mind also, you can remove subjects from this calculation. So if you don't want, say, penmanship to be a part of this calculation, you can remove that. Okay, so that's our honor roll system, kind of a generic system. We do have GPA. If your school utilizes GPA score, then what you would want to do is make sure you have your correct GPA scale in place. We provide a generic scale. It's kind of traditional for, if your student receives an A, they receive a 4. If they get a B, they get a 3 points. So very traditional. Some schools have a pretty far out there grading scale or GPA scale. So you'll obviously need to make sure this is exactly as you need it to be. And again, you can have as many GPA scales as you need. I also want to mention that GPA, of course, is calculated based upon not just the scale, but also the class credits. So when teachers create their classes, they will be declaring how many credits it is worth. So those 2 items work hand in hand. You have your GPA scale and you have class credits, and all of that goes into the GPA calculation. All right, let's go back to the main menu here. So we covered honor roll, GPA. Now, graduated is simply a way of declaring, did a student graduate last year? So they're not returning to the school. So you'll look at your 8th grade students, for example, and you'll just say, yeah, that student graduated. And then they're kind of off the books here, and they will not roll into the new school year. So you can declare that information. Okay, we have a couple of report card options here at the end. You can return to this section to update this if you need, but just a quick look here. Do you want a signature line for parents on the report card or a teacher signature? So these are just little elements that you can add or remove to your report cards. Do you want the grading scale to appear? And how about comment codes? I'm going to show you the comment codes in a little bit. So we do have this sort of generic comment code system that can be used for report cards. So these are options for you. Take a look at them and decide whether you want them on your report card. You might need to print some report cards, see how it looks, and see if it matches what you're looking for. Here you can put your principal name into this box here, and then it will appear as you want it on the report card. Down below here, you can upload an image and have your image appear on the report cards. Now, the image itself is basically a square that sits in the middle of the page at the top of the report card. So it's not anything you can get too elaborate with, but if you have a logo or some kind of image you would like to appear, you could try it out, see if you like it. So you can upload your image and then select it from your list here. Okay, so these are your report card options. I mentioned the comment codes. So we provide a generic list of comments. This was provided by the Cleveland Diocese over the years, and they wanted to standardize comments for students. And so we put that in the system automatically. So your teachers can select, say they want is working at grade level, and number 2 would appear on the report card. So these are just... it's an option for you. You can customize this list. You can add a new comment. You can remove them. I would not change these comments once you've distributed report cards in the year. You don't want to go and start messing with this after you've already distributed report cards. Okay, so that's an option for you. All right, I've looked at all 12 items in the setup. We have our structural pieces in place. We have our subjects, our homerooms, our grading scales. Those are the main items. Everything looks good, so we're ready to say I've completed the setup area. You'll click on this, and now I can return to the junction page, and we're ready to start using the application. Okay, there's still more that needs to be done as far as managing students and making sure your students are in the system correctly, but at least the application settings are in place, and we're ready to move forward. Okay, I hope this video helped you understand the setup area of the GradeLock application.